Hello, welcome back to the React programming series from ground up. This video we are going to see how routing works in React. Routing is when the URLs are different and you land into different pages. So in a single page application, there is only one page, but there are multiple components. So how components-based routing works in React, that is the gist of this video. Router makes it easy to create multi-page experience within a single page application. So this is what we are going to see in this application. We would be having different paths which are defined, meaning different routes which are defined. And on clicking of different routes, we'll be opening different components. And there is a parameterized route, which is this. If I click here, there's a parameter 123 which is being passed and which I can read it inside my component as well and use that parameter to do some database query or some other activity I can do with the help of parameter. So parameterized routing and simple routing is what we are going to see in this video. Let's start. The setup is almost same whatever we have done till now. Only difference is that we would be installing React Router. The commands are mentioned here. You can use this or you can use yarn. And then you can start the site or the development server by doing npm start. The first thing which we do is we create components. This we have seen multiple times. So we have a home component, about component, blog component. So this is a component which is a functional component. Then we have to define the routes. So how to define the routes? So first thing is we have to use the browser router, and we are uh, importing it as router, routes and route. So these are the things which we have to import. And browser router component provides a routing functionality for your application and should be placed at the top level of your component hierarchy. So this is placed at the top level. Routes are basically defining what routes are possible, and route component should be used to declare what component should be rendered in the specific URL path. So in this case, it is home. For the home page, it is, or the slash, it is home. About, it is about. Component for contract, in the URL, if it is contract, it is the contract component which is being represented. So you can appreciate that how very easily we can define the routes. So let's get started. We will see some advanced concepts like navigation and dynamic routes in a bit, but with this basic, let's get started. This is the project which we just created. I have opened it here. Let me delete all the files which I don't need. Let me delete this also. So it is very short and succinct. So only these 8-9 lines are there, but primarily div section root. Then I have the app.js. I have deleted everything from app also. I have kept only inside app text here. Then index.js. This is what places the app inside the index.html. So this rendering part app, it can be here. So with this, uh, let's get started. First, what I need to do is I need to create a components folder. Let me do that. Why this is required is because I want to place all my components which I will be using inside my routes. So let me create a component. Let's say so. If you see here, there are few lines only. Let me call it home. and this is home page. This is home. Similarly, I'll create some other components also. So you can see now that all the components which are required about blog, contact, and home, they are created. Now let's go to the app.js and have the routing done. Okay, so let me go to app.js, make it a little small for us to read it easily. So this is the app.js. So what I have done here is I have home, about, contact. These are the three pages which we have. These two I would like to delete for now. And params is not there. So let me delete this also. So these are the four components which we have imported here. These are the routes: home, about, contact. Params is not there, so I would be deleting it. So these are the four routes which we have. So what we have done here is we have imported the relevant modules from React and from the React router also. And then what we have done is we have listed out the routes. So with this, with the routes being present now, if I type a URL slash about, I should see the about page. Let's see that in action. So yes, so this is giving us the home page because it's on the home URL. Now, if I do a about, let's say I do a about, I'll get about page. If I do a contact, I'll be getting a contact page. But this is not looking so nice. So let's make it a little nicer to look. So we want to place a navigation component now, which is used to navigate between different routes. You can use link component provided by the React router to navigate between different components which are there. So this is how it will look like. Let me put it into the code and then we will see how exactly it behaves. So I'm going to create a new file with the name navigation.js, and I'll be placing this here, the navigation part of it. Okay, I have placed it here. Now let me do one thing. I'll be placing this in the router as well. So I'll go here and I'll say navigation. So now we can see that we are having all these things here. So if I click on home, if I click on about, if I click on contact, we go to these three different pages. Okay, now we will be doing one thing, which is beautification of this. Let's see how the beautification can be done. So what I have done now is I have created a new file called navigation2.js, and it has different class names for different CSS which is given. So CSS is here. For now, I'll just remove this logo and we'll see it a little later. So, and then the same thing, we have different nav links to link to different navigation components. So let's see this in action now. So now I have saved all the files. After saving all the files, what I see here is this. So I can see we have a home, we have a blog, we have a about, and we have a contact. Okay, so we can have a content also inside this. If I have to place some content, let me place some dummy content here. So this is the content which I've placed just now. And with this, if I have to give some, let's say I want to place some CSS here, I can say class name home, and in the CSS file, I can say dot home, let's say background color equal to this. And if I save this, I can see that the background color is being reflected here. Okay, so this is one thing. Now the last thing which we wanted to cover was the parameters. So this is a dynamic route. So what it means is that you have a specific ID. This part of the thing is a dynamic. So you have a component called user, and then you have a ID also in the path. Okay, and then based on the ID you want to do something. So how to do this? Let's quickly see how we can do this. So I'll come here, I'll create a new route here. So let's say the route is going to be this. Okay, so this is the route. And then we because we created a user profile, so there should be a user profile component as well, because in the route there is a user profile route. So let me create a user profile component, and after creating it I'll explain you what exactly this is. Let's say in the contact I have to have this link. So let's see from the beginning what we did. We defined a route. This is the route which we have defined, user profile, and it has a parameter also, which is indicated by a colon and the ID. And then because we have used the user profile, we should be defining a component called user profile, which is defined here. And what it is doing is it is fetching the parameter ID, and it is displaying it in a paragraph tag, this ID. So the this is the third thing which we have done is we have gone to the contact.js and we have linked to the user. Okay, so when we link to the user, when the user clicks on the user, this specific link, it is redirected to this. And if you see the route of this user 123, the route is user 123, 123 being the ID, the route would be routed to the user profile, and thereby in the user profile we shall be seeing this. Okay, let's see this in action now. So I go to the contact, and if I click here, I should be seeing this. Okay, so this is the parameter based routing which we have done now.